A few days ago, a teaser was released for the upcoming Spaceballs 2. It doesn't show any footage. It's my understanding that filming hasn't started yet, but they are starting the hype campaign early on this one. The movie doesn't even come out for another 2 years, and it seems to be working. I've seen a lot of excitement and optimism, even from the more cynical corners of the internet, and I wish I felt the same way. I'm not trying to rain on anyone's parade or anything, but I have seen several red flags, even from this early in the process, so much so that I couldn't even point to one reason why I'm just not feeling it with Spaceballs 2. I made a list. Here are 5 reasons I am not excited for the long awaited comedy sequel. I do want to say before I begin that this is not me telling you that you're wrong if you are excited. That's great. If you really are hyped for this, I'm happy for you. I just feel differently. On to the list. Number 5, Amazon Studios. I'll talk about the creative team behind this new film later because that's always more indicative of quality. But when a studio has been in a rut, it's worth noting. In the case of Amazon, I'm not sure they've ever been out of a rut. The only studio that gives Netflix a run for their money in brainless streaming slop. Amazon productions range from legendary disasters to impending disasters to, I'll be diplomatic and say, overhyped. They've been making R-rated superhero stuff since the 90s, people. Calm the fuck down. Number 4, Mel Brooks is 98 years old. The dude's a living legend and has made plenty of great comedies, but how involved do we seriously think he's going to be in this movie? He'll be a centenarian by the time this thing comes out. It's been announced he's not writing or directing this new movie, and while there are a few talented people involved in that department, especially Josh Greenbaum, the director, they're not Mel Brooks. Moreover, he played dual roles in the original film as arguably the most iconic characters aside from Rick Moranis' Dark Helmet. I'm sorry, I just don't think the idea of a Spaceballs movie with the bare minimum of screen time of both President Scroob and Yogurt sounds very funny. Number 3, Josh Gad is in it. He sucks. Number 2, the original film is not exactly a timeless classic. Look, it's a fun movie, and I loved it as a kid, but it's no masterpiece either. That's honestly a big reason it is so beloved, is that unlike the slower-paced movies like Blazing Saddles or The Producers, Spaceballs is a more juvenile film, not only targeting a franchise kids like, but hitting them with humor right there at their level. Upon rewatching it, though, there are plenty of gags that don't work, and there's an awkwardness to the whole movie that makes revisiting this franchise a bit unappetizing to me. Plus, come on, there's not exactly a shortage of spoofs in the internet age. Even when it came out, it seemed a little late to make a Star Wars parody. And 40 years later, the things that stood out about that movie were Brooks's creativity and the cast. Well, Brooks doesn't seem to be all that involved, and some of the funniest cast members are dead. No John Candy, no Joan Rivers. Who's going to fill that void? Josh Gad? And number 1, we've done this before. I don't mean reviving an old movie into a franchise. That happens several times a month at this point. I'm talking about reviving this franchise. Friends, let me take you back to a strange alien time known as the 2000s. Seemingly every video game was based off of a 70s movie, and there was a channel called G4, fondly remembered today for reasons I cannot comprehend. It was an early attempt to target the online geek culture circles, largely ignored by the mainstream at the time. Now it just is the mainstream. It aired 3 shows: Cops, shows that if you squinted kind of look like cops, and an animated series, a sequel to a beloved 80s classic, Spaceballs. It was one of the biggest pieces of shit ever made. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but seeing something like this, it just puts you off the whole idea. Like maybe Spaceballs was a mistake in the first place. This one actually did have some involvement from Brooks too, which just twists the knife in even more. Genuinely one of the most painful, unfunny things I've ever seen. It's like watching a disaster on the news. No laughs, just pure horror. Well, I've already talked about the 5 reasons I'm not excited, but in the interest of fairness, before I go, I'm going to give you one reason to be excited for Spaceballs 2. Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis' performance holds up extremely well, and seeing him in a movie for the first time in 20 years is exciting. I gotta give him that. Beyond that, though, Yeah, guys, I'm not looking forward to this. But if my channel proves nothing else, it's that I've been wrong a lot, and I kind of hope to be here. Anyway, this is T-Quint1 signing out.